We have to balance it though, don't we? Because this is the BBC.
Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're looking at the biggest scandals that Ofcom has both investigated and been the subject of over the years. Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. GB News. In 2023, Ofcom announced that it would be investigating GB News again.
Free speech is everything, but it comes with responsibility.
Since its launch in 2021, GB News has struggled to gain credibility and viewership, especially when compared to its competitors. Actor Laurence Fox is a controversial figure in the UK, to say the least, and during an appearance, he launched a highly offensive personal attack against Ava Evans, a journalist, degrading and humiliating her.
Whether Laurence should stay on air is not my decision, and Dan's absence tonight is also beyond my control.
Host Dan Wootton laughed along and has now found himself suspended by GB News and sacked by the Mail. Ofcom is now investigating the fiasco as it gained thousands of complaints.
But the comments made by Laurence, in my view, were sexist, misogynistic, and unusually, in the frenzied climate of the so-called culture wars, have been condemned across the political spectrum.
It has previously found GB News in breach of rules multiple times, usually with regard to impartiality and misinformation. Product placement. More than once, Ofcom and other regulators have stepped in to punish broadcasters for breaking product placement rules.
It all looks amazing. Hello, Nadine.
Product placement was finally allowed in the UK in 2011, but with the requirement that a logo must be shown to indicate this.
Now, high street beauty brands, stores we know and love, we tend not to look at their own brands.
However, back in 1994, Granada found itself in hot water for using product placement on This Morning to promote beauty products, getting itself a fine of £500,000 by Ofcom's predecessor, the ITC.
Say hello to iJoyride. This is the latest fitness trend sweeping Japan.
Over a decade later, in 2005, and Channel 4 got a much smaller £5,000 fine after viewers complained that Richard and Judy seemed to be promoting Red Bull. Faye and Teddy's row. Love Island. One of the most contentious couples ever to enter the villa, Faye and Teddy often rowed. But how much of that rowing was genuine and how much was engineered by the producers behind the scenes?
You're actually telling me you picked?
Well, I didn't do that with anyone. I've not done anyone with that in 3 days.
That was what Ofcom wanted to find out, as viewers complained when footage implying Teddy had cheated on Faye was shown to her without the full context.
I didn't even speak to the lads. I was
So what do you reckon I did?
He hadn't cheated on her, but it appeared that the producers wanted it to look like he had, leading to a huge outburst from her.
If I want to speak to everyone else about my problems and not you, guess what? I'm going to speak.
Problem.
It's not our problem, it's a you problem, because I have no problem.
This was what got 25,000 complaints, but Ofcom didn't uphold them, citing the fact that Faye quickly apologised. Prince Philip.
We have just received a statement from Buckingham Palace confirming that the Duke of Edinburgh has died.
In 2021, His Royal Highness Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, died at the age of 99. But you'll remember this clearly because it felt like it was the only thing shown on television for days.
The statement says, "It is with deep sorrow that Her Majesty the Queen has announced the death of her beloved husband, His Royal Highness the Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh."
The BBC was primarily in the line of fire here for stopping regular broadcasts across multiple channels to air documentaries about the Duke, which got about 110,000 Ofcom complaints. Specifically, people were complaining that the BBC wasn't being impartial, though at least a few people also tried to say the coverage was, quote, harmful and offensive. Ofcom didn't really investigate the complaints further.
We have been inspired by his unwavering loyalty to our Queen, by his service to the nation and the Commonwealth.
Piers Morgan, Good Morning Britain.
But now Piers has decided to leave the programme. Some of you may cheer and others will boo.
During his years at Good Morning Britain, Piers Morgan made no secret of the fact he doesn't like the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle.
This is a 2-hour trash-a-thon of our royal family, of the monarchy, of everything the Queen has worked so hard for.
This played out following the Sussex's interview with Oprah Winfrey, with Piers saying he didn't believe what Markle was saying. He was then called out on air by Alex Beresford and proceeded to storm off set, later leaving the show for good.
OK, I'm done with this.
No.
Sorry, no.
Sorry. Do you know what? That's pathetic.
You can trash me, mate, but not my own
No.
stuff. See you later.
I'm being...
Sorry, can't do
This
this.
is absolutely diabolical behaviour.
The debacle got Morgan over 50,000 complaints, alleging that what he said was offensive and insensitive for people struggling with their mental health. Ofcom eventually backed Morgan, saying that he was within his right to freedom of expression, just about. O2 overcharging.
Get unlimited calls, unlimited texts, and masses of data.
It's not just TV and radio that Ofcom oversees, but the entire communications industry in Britain, including phone providers. That's why it was Ofcom that ruled in 2021 that mobile operator O2 was going to cough up £10.5 million in fines. It turned out that despite knowing there was a technical issue that was leading to customers being overcharged, O2 didn't fix the problem and continued to overcharge customers for a period of 8 years.
Only O2 lets you switch up to a new phone when it suits you and pays off your current contract.
O2 got fined again that very same year, this time £150,000 for giving Ofcom incomplete information during the initial investigation. On top of that, O2, of course, had to refund its customers. Michael Grade.
But if you were ITV chair and controlling the BBC and they were doing it to one of the channels that you were the boss of, would you tolerate it?
This time, Ofcom itself was in the firing line. In 2022, Michael Grade was appointed as the regulator's chair, in a move that became controversial.
The government has a duty to keep the public informed. It's been running daily press conferences.
Grade is certainly qualified for the job, having been controller of the BBC and chief of both Channel 4 and ITV. But there are many who say this is what makes him unfit for the position, saying he has conflicts of interest.
I'm sorry that you've got this problem, but I don't think it's symptomatic of a government that doesn't want to communicate with the public.
There have been times in Grade's long career where he's tried to censor the shows under his control, and even once put Doctor Who on hiatus for a year and a half in the 80s, allegedly because he just didn't like it. And his position as a Tory peer has also raised concerns about impartiality. Clarkson on strikers. The One Show.
Yeah, a guest with balanced, uncontroversial opinions who makes great efforts not to offend.
And we've got Jeremy Clarkson.
He certainly does like to test the limits of what people will let him say in public, and he often gets away with quite a lot.
Do you think the strikes have been a good idea?
Fantastic. Absolutely.
But he's never reappeared on The One Show after these comments in 2011, when he went after striking public sector workers.
We have to balance it though, don't we? Because this is the BBC. And
Exactly.
Yes, exactly.
Frankly, I'd have them all shot.
People were divided between backing Clarkson because he was joking, or thinking that regardless of the intention, it was a step too far, and there were over 30,000 complaints to Ofcom in the end.
I mean, how dare they go on strike when they've got these gilt-edged pensions that are going to be guaranteed while the rest of us have to work for a living?
He was investigated by the regulator, but ultimately cleared on the basis that this was Jeremy Clarkson, and he was known for being, quote, provocative. Jerry Springer, the opera.
My guests today all have guilty secrets. They also have partners who want to get those guilty secrets off their chests and come clean.
The former title holder of the most complained about show to ever air on the BBC, this notorious musical remains an iconic television moment.
Hey Jerry, what's up? What's up? What's up?
Written by musician Richard Thomas and comedian Stuart Lee, Jerry Springer was an absurd theatrical version of the popular US reality show.
Please welcome the Ku Klux Klan.
A broadcast of the stage show on BBC Two attracted a record 55,000 complaints, making it the most complained about show ever for a while.
I can't go to hell, I'm Jewish!
Surrender your mortal soul, let life swallow you up whole!
Ofcom didn't uphold the complaints, but Christian organisations later tried to take the BBC to court, charging it with blasphemy, but the case didn't hold water. Phone-in scandals. All major broadcasters were affected by this monumental, wide-reaching scandal back in 2007.
It seems some callers have not been properly entered into the competition.
ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5 and even the BBC were found to have been deceiving the nation with premium rate phone lines and fraudulent competitions for years.
It's a kind of television that doesn't just want your attention, it wants your money.
Popular shows like The X Factor were found to have not been taking the costly public votes into account, or even deliberately ignoring the votes to pick winners themselves. It was a massive investigation ending in landmark fines.
GMTV says it didn't know the bulk of potential contestants on this day were each paying up to £1.80 for the privilege of entering a competition that had already closed.
Major broadcasters paid tens of millions of pounds, with ITV at one point facing a bill of £70 million for what it had done. Let us know in the comments if you've ever complained to Ofcom.
This is our Jerry Springer moment!
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.